Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ahmad Washil Tabroni. My ID number is T 2019-61 and 80. And here I'd like to explain about phenomenology. Phenomenology is the form of qualitative research that focuses on the study of an individual's life experience within the world. A phenomenological study describes the meaning for several individuals of their life experience of a concept or a phenomenon. Phenomenologists focus on describing what all participants have in common as their experience of phenomenon. The basic purpose of phenomenology is to reduce individuals' experience with a phenomenon to a description of the universal essence. In simple terms, phenomenology can be defined as an approach to research that seeks to describe the essence of phenomenon by exploring it from the perspective of those who have experienced it. Then, what is the goal of phenomenology? The goal of phenomenology is to describe the meaning of these experiences, but in terms of what experience and how it was experienced. There are different kinds of phenomenology. Each of them are rooted in different ways of conceiving what and how of human experience. In other words, each approach of phenomenology is rooted in a different school of philosophy. And the procedures for conducting phenomenological research. The first is the researcher determines if the research problem is the best examined using a phenomenological approach. The types of problem best suited for this form of research is one in which it is important to understand several individuals' common or shared experience of a phenomenon. It will be important to understand these common experiences in order to develop practices or policies, or to develop a deeper understanding about the features of the phenomenon. The second is a phenomenon of interest to study, such as anger, professionalism, what it means to be underweight, or what it means to be arousal is identified. And the third is the researcher recognizes and specifies the broad philosophical assumptions of phenomenology. For example, one could write about the combination of objective reality and individual experiences. These life experiences are furthermore concise and directed toward an object. To fully describe how participants view the phenomenon, the researcher must break out as much as possible their own experiences. And the fourth is data are collected from the individuals who have experienced the phenomenon. The data collection in phenomenological studies often consists of in-depth interviews and multiple interviews with participants. Polkinghorne, 1998, recommends that researchers interview from 5 to 25 individuals who have all experienced the phenomenon. Other forms of data may also be collected, such as observations, journals, art, poetry, music, and other forms of art. And the fifth is the participants are asked two broad general questions. What have you experienced in terms of phenomenon? What context or situation have typically influenced or affected your experience of the phenomenon? Other open-ended questions may also be asked, but these two especially focus attention on gathering data that will lead to a textual description and a structural description of the experiences, and ultimately provide an understanding of the common experiences of the participant. The sixth is phenomenological data analysis steps are generally similar for all psychological phenomenologies. Building on that, building on the data from the first and second research question, data analysts also through the data and highlight significant statement, sentence or quotes that provide an understanding of how the participants experience the phenomenon. Next, the researcher develops clusters of meaning from these significant statement into themes. And the seventh is this significant statement and themes are then used to write a description of what the participants experience or textual description. They are also used to write a description of the context or setting that influence how the participants experience the phenomenon, called imaginative variation of or structural description. Mostakas 1994 adds the further step. The researcher also write about their own experiences and the context and the situation that have influenced their experience. And the last is from the structural and textural description. The researcher then writes a composite description that presents the essence of the phenomenon, called the essential and invariant structure or essence. Primarily, this passage focuses on the common experiences of the participants and the challenges of phenomenology. Phenomenology provides a deep understanding of a phenomenon as experienced by several individuals. Knowing some common experience can be valuable for groups such as therapists, teachers, health personnel, and policymakers. The phenomenology can involve a streamline form of data collection by including only single or simple or multiple interviews with participants. Using the data collection by including only using the Mostaka's 1994 approach for analyzing the data helps provides a structured approach for notice the researcher. On the other hand, phenomenology requires at least some understanding of the broader philosophical assumptions, and this should be identified by the researcher. The participants in the study need to be carefully choose to be individuals who have all experienced the phenomenon in question so that the researcher in the end can forge a common understanding. Predicting personal experience may be difficult for the researcher to implement. An interpretive approach to phenomenology would signal this as an impossibility for the researcher to become separated from the text. The researcher needs to decide how and in what ways his or her personal understanding will be introduced into the study. Well, probably this is what I can deliver to you. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.